This is an overview of the MineViewer program and its basic operation. If it's been correctly installed, when you start it you will get this view. This shows a high resolution aerial photo of the mine site, and we can display our vehicle data over the top of it. So we first need to load some data. This is done from the Files menu. We have a couple of options. We have Load RCM Summary File, which we will use. This will load a single day of data for one vehicle. We also have the option for loading multiple files. This is Load RCM Files Roughness. And although it's not fully active at the moment, we will also have the option for loading velocity files. At the moment, this option will load the raw data recorded on the prepaid phones. There are some other options, but they have specific applications and are not required just at the moment. If we load an RCM summary file, we get a list of files. The structure is to have the date they were recorded and the vehicle ID following. DSO5 is the light vehicle, DSO7 is the water tanker. So if we pick, for example, this file, this is for the 20th of May for DSO5, the light vehicle. We can open that, it takes a few seconds to load, and we get the vehicle trajectory for that day. Now, at the bottom of the screen we see the mine site, but this data shows the vehicle travelling from Middlemount to the mine site and returning during the day. Because a lot of this northern data is not required by us, we can go to our analysis screen or menu, and we have the option Zoom to Site. If we click on that, we immediately return to the aerial photo filling the full screen. We also have a second option, Zoom to Pit, and this moves into a particular area of interest. You'll notice it tries to include the area where the vehicles operate rather than the entire mine site. We can then do a few things. We can zoom in either using the scroll wheel on the mouse, or if we right click the mouse we can also get a context menu. This at the moment is for zooming. During other operations it will offer a different set of functions you can use. So we can zoom window, pick a region of interest, and we've now zoomed in on that. If the background aerial photo is a bit complex and messing with the data points, we do have in the top right photo on off, and if we select this button we now have a display only of the vehicle trajectories. The multiple dots indicate the light vehicle was travelling multiple times along this section of road, probably out and back twice. We have a little bit of control just to make the screen display a bit simpler. We can go to Analysis Point Size and change the size of the points. Go to very small. We have a command on the right side of the screen, Point Info. If we select this and select a single point, we'll get a display for that individual point of the road roughness value, power spectral density, and the vehicle velocity at that point in kilometres per hour. So the selected point has a PSD of 4161 and a velocity of 58 kilometres per hour. This gives you a raw ability to analyse any specific location. We can also do a region, so we process a rectangular region we've defined. If we slightly zoom out, we define the region according to picking of 2 points. So we select Define Region, identify the first point, perhaps we'll pick that point, identify the second, this point. We get a rectangular display that's not covering all the points, so we can select it, and we have these grips where we can change its size. So we've now made it larger. We can also move it around and if necessary rotate it. We then pick the right mouse button, unselect all. We can now analyse the points within that rectangular region by hitting pit score. And that tells us pit rating of 99.6%. We also get the velocity through that region. So within that area, the vehicle achieved a maximum velocity of 73 kilometres an hour, a minimum of 47, and we also calculate the average of 57.9. Now, that region display can be saved to file. So if we save file, we already have 2 defined. We can call this region 3 and save. And that means you can define a particular area of interest and accurately recover that region of interest for later processing. We have the ability to manage layers, and this is another way to handle the aerial photo. So if we go to photo and turn it on, we now have the photo, the region displayed in context. You can then go zoom previous, or alternatively, to avoid having to zoom to the whole area, we can zoom to site. We also have some information up here just to put the aerial photo in context. If we select point size to be very large, this will be the entry to the mine and the location of the offices. And that should give some level of context. We can zoom in. The photo is of very high resolution, so we can define where we are on the mine site. Other commands, all the analysis commands will be under the analysis option menu. We can measure distances, so we can pick distances and get a cumulative display. So as we keep picking, the first entry, 56.5, is the last segment, and the cumulative entry is 269.3. So you can measure areas along the mine site. You can also measure, my apologies, distance. We can also measure areas, and that will give us a means to do some sorts of measurements. We've already seen the point size. If we hit pit score from the analysis menu rather than the right side menu, it gives us the pit score for all data displayed. So this includes the trip to and from Middlemount. So clearly this will give us different values. Also in analysis, we can turn the power spectral density display on and off. And we also have this capability on the right screen menu. The colour coding of the power spectral density menu can be shown by selecting colours. The colouring is according to an ISO standard where they define roads according to Class A through to Class H, and they are colour coded appropriately. Class H is a very rough road, Class A is a very smooth road. If you wish to change the entries, you can, for example, click on Class C and give it a different colour. We'll do something extreme, perhaps a light blue. Okay, and then if we apply that, you may find, go to the pit site and make the points much larger. We may or may not have Class C roads somewhere in there. If they were there, their colour would have just changed. It's not obvious at this stage. For the rest of the program, it's functionally a 2D CAD program. So in Edit, you can undo and redo or cut, copy, paste elements. The View menu gives you a range of options for zooming in and out. You can draw various standard entities, point, line, circle, rectangle, polyline. You can also insert block elements. These are not active at the moment. You can use the commands, but they're not integrated in the analysis. We can also modify, move, copy, rotate. We have a layer function, so we can manage drawing layers. We have a small range at the moment, but this could expand. We have tools, so we can set the nature of the points, line types, weights, text. And we have, as we've already mentioned, the analysis menu. And that's a quick overview of the MindRoad viewer.